The internet is making you miserable. And the worst part, you are doing it to yourself. You wake up, you grab your phone, and you start reading. And within 10 minutes, you are anxious, angry, and convinced the world is against you. And nothing even happened to you today. Now, you just read about things that happen to other people in other countries that may or may not even be true. This is the most underrated mental health crisis nobody's even talking about. We have built these online communities that are supposed to connect us, and instead they've become these black holes where most miserable, most angry, most checked out people set the tone for everyone else, and the rest of us just absorb it like idiots. I'm going to use Japan as an example today because I've seen this up close. But whatever community you are in, whatever country, whatever group, this is happening to you too. And by the end of this video, you will see exactly how it works, who is behind it, and why the people setting the tone in these spaces are the last people you should be taking life advice from. So let's talk about Japan specifically because this is where I've watched this happen in real life. There are subreddits, forums, and online communities all dedicated to people living or planning on moving to Japan. And on paper, that sounds great. A place to share experiences, get advice, help each other out. But here is what it actually looks like. Someone posts about a bad experience, the landlord. Someone else posts about feeling exhausted or excluded. Someone felt like they've gotten a weird look on the train, and the community explodes. Hundreds of people jump into adding their own worst stories, validating the outrage, pushing it further, and slowly that becomes the whole identity of the space. Bad experiences after bad experiences after bad experience until the entire community is basically a support group for people who hate where they live. And here is the thing that gets me, these people chose to move here. Nobody forced them. So one person in a thread I came across, said something that stopped me. They said they felt gaslighted by the internet into believing Japan was a terrible place to exist. And that word is perfect because that's exactly what's happening. You're being shown a version of reality so consistently negative that you start doubting your own eyes, your own daily experiences, your own life. You walk outside and things are fine. Actually, more than fine. But then you go back online and you're reading about discrimination, about racism, about how the system is rigged against you. And the quiet voice in your head starts saying, maybe I'm just not seeing it. Maybe it's worse than I think. That's not information, that's manipulation. And the platform is doing it for free. Let me tell you a story that someone also shared in that same thread because this is the one that really nailed it. See, this person said he took a taxi with his friends. The driver was this old Japanese guy, maybe around 70 years old. He drove like an absolute maniac. No signals, sudden braking, switching lanes here and there, feeling like the road belonged to him personally. But during the whole ride, the driver was talking to them. And guess what? Asking about their lives, where they're from, how they even ended up coming to Japan. Genuinely curious, genuinely warm. At the end of the ride, he handed them a bag of M&Ms. M&Ms for no reason. Oh, and at the end of the day, he was also blasting Kesha. Full volume. A 70-year-old man. Kesha? And the person ends the story by saying, based on every Reddit post I've read, this guy should probably have been a cold, rude, unwelcoming. Instead, he was one of the highlights of his week. That is the gap. That is what I'm talking about. The internet tells this person what to expect. Realities showed up with M&M's and Kesha. If this is already clicking for you, subscribe. There's more where this came from. So, why does this gap exist? Why is it that online experiences are so different from an actual lived experience? Three reasons. Number one, selection bias. Nobody, I repeat, nobody posts about normal days. Nobody wakes up and writes, I had a good day. I had a good taxi ride. An old man gave me candies. Life was good. That's not how it works. People post when they are angry, when they are hurt, when they are frustrated. So the entire feed becomes a highlight reel of the worst moment of the worst person's worst day. And your brain reads this feed and thinks this is what life here looks like. It doesn't. It doesn't. It's just what get posted. Number two, the isolation loop. There's a specific type of person who ends up running these spaces. They move somewhere new. They never really learn the language. They stayed inside English speaking bubbles online. And slowly, the internet becomes their main social world. And when your main social world is a negative community, that negativity, becomes your real reality. Someone in that thread said they got downvoted just for sharing positive experiences. Think about that. The community is actively punishing happiness. That's not a community anymore, that's a cult. Number three, the broken dream. Some people move to Japan or move somewhere or anywhere or even their own country with a specific idea in their head of what they would like to be or what they would be. And when that reality didn't or doesn't match their fantasy, instead of adjusting, they get angry. And the internet gave them somewhere, to put that anger. And other angry people validated it. And now, 2 years later, they are still here, angry, same place, still unable to leave, but completely unable to enjoy where they are. The original post asked the question directly. You're living in Japan, spending all your time on English platforms, hating everything around you. What are you actually doing here? That's a fair question to me. Now, I'm not saying Japan is perfect. It's not. There are real immigration issues that stress families out, like real issues. There are housing situations that genuinely affect people's lives. There are experiences that differ based on where you're from and what you look like. Someone in that same thread talked about watching how their own Asian friends were treated versus their own Western experience. And that difference was real and it was uncomfortable. Legitimate problems deserve to be talked about. That's not what I'm criticizing. No. What I'm criticizing is when a community stops being about problem solving and start being more about collecting them, it becomes a problem. And when goals stop being, to help each other, it becomes more about seeing who is the most victimized. At that point, you are not processing any experiences anymore. You are performing it for strangers on the internet who are also performing theirs, and everyone gets worse. So who are these people actually? Because I think we need to, be honest about this. The loudest voices in these spaces are almost never the people thriving. They are not the ones who learned, the languages, built real lives, made local friends, figured it out. Those people are busy living. The people setting the tone are the ones who never quite landed, never learned Japanese, got stuck in the job they hate, consumed all their news through English media written by people who also don't even live there, and basically built their entire life and personalities around being an outsider who got a raw deal. And because they have the most time and the most frustration, they post the most, they comment the most, they dominate the conversations. So new people show up, read the room, and think this is what experience looks like. The cycle continues just like that. And look, I keep saying Japan, but I want to be clear. This is everywhere. Expat communities, gaming communities, political communities, parenting communities, fitness communities. Every single one of them has its own same dynamics where the angriest, most checked, and poisonous person slowly takes over the whole place and the well being of everyone else. And the platform lets this happening because anger keeps us scrolling, anxiety keeps us coming back, misery is the most engagement friendly emotion that is in this modern world. You are not getting any accurate picture of realities from these people. You're getting the most emotionally charged versions of reality, specifically designed to keep you on the app. That is the business model. Your anxiety is the product. So, here is where I land on this. Be careful what you let into your head on a daily basis because it shapes how you see things even when you don't realize it. You can read in negativity about a place, a person, a situation, and start seeing evidence of it everywhere, even if it's not there. Look at a taxi driver giving out M&Ms and playing Kesha, having warm conversations, small kindness. The normal good days, they still exist. They just don't get posted. So if you ever move to Japan or anywhere, if you're living in any country, go out, make friends, see with your eyes, learn the local language if you can. Build a real life outside the virtual one, okay? And if you catch yourself spending more time reading about life that actually, that doesn't concern you, put the phone down. The world out there is almost always better than the one we feed ourselves with on the phone. If this hits close to home, share with someone who needs to hear this. And if you want to keep having these conversations, kindly please don't forget to click the subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one. Catch you later.